There are those who would like to see you fail in your journey. That's not going to happen on my watch. Let's go.
Can we stop for ice cream, Bart? Can we stop for ice cream? Oh, it's the Max! Ho 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 ho! The Portland Light Rail System. Hello, I'm Simulator Dirk and welcome back to American Truck Simulator. We are about to leave Holbrook, Arizona, head to Clovis, New Mexico with a load of dry milk. 25 hours left in the window, so let's get right into the action. There's our truck. I get the feeling that we've been here before. We've got a load of dry milk and we are going to basically go across the state of New Mexico as we look to continue to head north for a little bit, and then we're going to head mainly east. We're heading mainly east. I picked this load because we can basically get through the whole state of New Mexico in one massive hit. So there's our truck. I have hopefully resolved the Windows Update Edition and the issue that we had in the previous episode. Let's get in the truck. Fire up.
There are those who would like to see you fail in your journey. That's not going to happen on my watch. Let's go.
Alright, new truck. We're expected Tuesday night just before 11. It's 3:49 p.m, so almost 4 p.m. Tuesday now. Mr. Morgan Freeman is on board. We're in our Volvo. 3/4 of a litre, 3/4 of a tank full of fuel. So hopefully we'll have a nice trip and not get stuck with a couple of accidents. Now, if I have an accident, I'll put my hand up and say, yeah, that was my fault. I wasn't, far enough from the guy behind or whatever. But when, in one instance, the computer froze, and then when it decided to unfreeze itself, I was seconds away from crashing away into another truck. I sideswiped him.
Turn left.
And then there was another one where I was driving, and you won't see it on the recording. I'm definitely going to make a promo out of it. You won't see it on the recording, but what you will see is me just suddenly crash hard. And the reason that I crashed hard is because I had no control of the game whatsoever. Windows decided that it needed to tell me right now that I needed to do an update. And I had no control of the truck whatsoever. And then I crashed, and it was a big one. Probably the worst crash that I actually had in American truck, although there was a couple in Euro truck when I was driving across Germany recently that weren't good. Yeah, Navigator is again the simulated voice of, or the recorded voice of Mr. Morgan Freeman. Let me see. Here we go. Let's go. Actually, I'll turn that off now that we're going and just rely on the one that's actually in truck. It's a big day of driving today across New Mexico.
1 mile. Turn right.
So a big day of driving across New Mexico today. So I can hear a train, I can't see it. Oh, there it is. Sweet. So we're continuing across our adventure of America and Mexico. thanks to the various map mods that I have installed. Now I've basically run out of room. He's let me in. Thank you, mate. You shouldn't have to do that, but thank you muchly. Welcome to New Mexico, the land of enchantment. It's like deja vu all over again. So we could have to go into the way station up here. Trucks in the right lane. Yep, there we go. Now, if Australian trucks have this, I don't know. There is usually signs though that say for the, but I think with us here in Australia, what usually happens, there's a sign on the street or on the road that says the way station's open.
The longest night of my life.
Morgan, we left 5 minutes ago, seriously. There's a signs on the side of the road which will put all the trucks and buses in one lane, and then it'll say if the truck stops actually, or the way station's actually open. They usually call them a heavy vehicle inspection site these days. So you must. Thank you. See you, mate. So the sign on the highway or the freeway will say that the site's open. If the site's not open, you can just go straight through. If it is open, you have to go in, and then when you get a bit closer, the lights will tell you if it actually needs you to pull in or pull into the scales area, or if you can bypass it and just go straight back to the road, to the highway or the freeway. Having said that, now I don't know if buses are exempt. There's been a couple of times that I've been on coaches recently when the trains aren't running and buses are on instead, and we haven't had to pull into the way station, so maybe it's just the trucks. So we are going to be discovering a lot of cities. Some of that is because I'm using my new profile that I'm using with these mods. So even if I've discovered them before and they've been on Simulated Earth episodes before, it'll just come up like, you have discovered Phoenix, even though I've been here before. And then for other ones, when we get a bit further east, I genuinely wouldn't have seen them before because they are new cities to me on the map. So but I just wonder with the Steam achievement system if it recognises, like if it does a cumulative total of all the cities that you visited and everything, it just adds up between all your profiles and says, okay, in general, Simulated Urk has done this. Rather than on one profile he has done this and on the other profile he's done that. So, I don't know. Historic Route 66, Bart. Can we go to Historic Route 66, Bart? Should we have done that? I don't know how far you can actually get on it. But I've downloaded all the new maps that are available. I've also installed some of the heavy vehicle packs, like the bigger loads and that sort of thing, like the special cargo and all that sort of thing. But we might have to get more experience before we're allowed to do those. Do, 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 do. So lots of trucks both ways. It's long, flat, mostly straight driving in this section through Arizona and now we're in New Mexico. This is we've got some road work ahead, have we? We need to merge up here. This has been a really good addition. Just these little bits of road work, traffic accidents, all of that sort of stuff. This is really good. Said to do you can do 55 through here. I'm not going to do 55 through here. And quite often, if I'm in that situation, it doesn't matter if I'm in my real car or if I'm in the simulated truck, or sometimes when I was in the moving truck, you have that sort of roadwork situation, and the roadwork finishes, and you've got the lane that continues the one that you're in, or you can merge back either left or right. I always try to move over, because I know that I can move straight over because the lane before that was closed, and also if there's anybody who's behind me who's in a bit of a hurry, who sort of leave those sort of work sites really aggressively, just get out of their way. Maybe this is just me with my personality type, but I do find this sort of game very enjoyable, hence the reason that I've got a whole YouTube channel for it. Simulated Dirk on the trains. We've just celebrated episode 50 of Simulated Train Simulator. Just entered the London Underground in Train Sim World. I tried Metro Simulator, which is based on the Moscow Metro, but I had some trouble with that in the tutorial. It was an early release thing. The tutorial wasn't that good. I couldn't press the buttons that I needed to press and all of that sort of stuff, so I got a refund on that. Oh, no, sorry, it wasn't Euro Truck Simulator that I had a bad run. It was Fernbus Coach Simulator, which was also in Europe, that I had big issues with in the wet. So should we have turned right at Albuquerque? Bart, can we turn left at Albuquerque? Bart? So we're on Interstate 40. I can't remember if it was Interstate 40. It might have been Interstate 10 that I spent a lot of time on, albeit heading in the other direction, heading west, when I was going across America in 2009. Oh, that was such an epic trip. There's a balloon fiesta in town. Albuquerque discovered. Hooray!
Keep left.
Thank you, Morgan. Thank you. At the end of the previous episode, I went through Morgan Freeman's movie history. He was born in the 30s. So he's approaching his 90s. I've seen very few of his movies, as it turns out, but he's just got one of those iconic voices that if he's on some sort of YouTube documentary or some sort of documentary or whatever, just got one of those velvet voices that you could listen to all day.
Keep left.
Sometimes when you're going, I've noticed in America, if you're going through a like a big location like Albuquerque, it's good to sort of stay in this lane because in this case the right lane comes and goes with the traffic, whereas if you stay in this lane you don't usually have to change lanes, and I really shouldn't be in the left lane as a big truck. So they've just added this lane, and then when we come up to the next exit, this lane will probably disappear again. So we can just stay in this lane and it's sweet. We'll just continue on straight. Tramway Boulevard, 1 mile. Bart, can we go see the tram? Bart? If you don't know what I'm referencing there, The Simpsons, it was the episode where Bart made himself a fake ID, and he went and hired a car, and he went on a road trip with Nelson, Martin, and Milhouse, and that was the famous one where there's a group of kids in a car with their dad, and they're on their way to Cape Canaveral, and the kids are playing up, and the father threatens that if they make one more noise or annoy him any more, he'll turn the car around and they'll go back to Winnipeg. And Bart's car's travelling past them at the time, and so Nelson reaches out and slaps the father on the back of the head, and the father says, "That's it! There'll be no Cape Canaveral for anyone. We're going back to Winnipeg." So he turns the car around and goes back to Winnipeg. It was quite funny. And they're driving through the American outback, and it's a case of, "Bart, can we stop for ice cream?" So they stop for ice cream. A little bit later on, "Bart, can we pick up the hitchhiker?" Yeah, so Bart picks up the hitchhiker. "Bart, can we stop for ice cream?" So they stop for all these things. And that was quite a funny episode. That was also the episode where Lisa goes to work with Homer at the nuclear power plant. And Lisa says, "Do you have any fruit?" And Homer says, "Purple's a fruit." So the sun's setting behind us. Making some good time to our destination as we go across from one side of New Mexico to the other. Oh, Deadpool Canyon 1. Why can't you be more like Deadpool Canyon 2? Yeah, classic episode. Now, unless I'm trying to be really obscure, if I'm making a quote, it's usually from The Simpsons, South Park, Wayne's World, Flying High / Airplane. Yeah, I said South Park. Wayne's World. like when someone's on Twitter and they say something like, "Can I be frank with you?" And of course, the line from Wayne's World, "As long as I can I still be Garth? I'm still Garth, right?" So we must be getting close to our destination. It's dark now. It mentioned that we'd actually be able to get to our destination in our legal driving time. Santa Fe. Were we going to Santa Fe? No, we were going to Clovis, I think. So we should be able to make it to our destination without needing to rest and without needing to fill up. So that will be good. Bart, can we go to historic Route 66, Bart? Oh, I thought he was going to hit me or I was going to hit him then. They give you a lot of time to merge on, really. Santa Rosa. Fort Summer.
Keep right. And then exit right.
Okay, exit right. So we're heading towards Fort Summer. So it seems.
Exit right.
Yes, sir, Mr. Freeman, sir.
In 0.1 miles, turn right. Turn right. And then keep right.
I wonder if we'll be able to go to that really famous truck stop. I think it's in Iowa. The biggest truck stop in the world. I wonder if we'll be able to go there. That'd be cool.
Keep right.
I wonder if they've actually modelled that. They would have had to have. Like the biggest truck stop in the world. That looks like our destination up here. No, oh, that's a workshop. We don't need to go there. We're all good. It's really good that in some states of America they still do have the yellow lines indicating that you can't overtake. I know I had that growing up here in Australia, but they changed that and they just made everything white. So it looks really good when you see the double yellow lines or the single yellow line. But I notice here the broken line was also yellow, whereas in Australia in years gone by that little bit of broken line would have been white, but now it's all just white. I'll slow down for this 30 zone. Hopefully we're not too far away from our destination. Our destination. I've got no idea how tall that truck actually is, but it's under 19 foot 10 inches. Well, we got under the bridge, so. We're turning left up here by the looks of things.
Keep left. And then... left.
Clovis. That's it, that's where we're going.
Turn left.
Alright, there we go on this side. Sweet, sweet.
Continue straight. We've got some road work up here, have we? Didn't really see any warning signs this time. Oh, it's the, it's an accident. That'll be right. That'll be why it wasn't road work. The iPhone X. The real ads are working if you see an iPhone X. It hasn't made the usual yawny noises yet. It's the longest day of my life.
glad there was no cars next to me then. Some more red and blue flashing lights up here. I think I'm going to have to merge shortly.
Continue straight. Keep left. And then turn left.
What are you guys multiplying? Oh, Super Troopers is another movie that I often quote. You boys like Mexico? Says Troopers. You boys like Mexico? Like Super Troopers 2 was good. Nowhere near as good as the first one though, because it really hadn't seen anything like the first one. But it was good that the guys managed to put out a second one, even though it took them quite some time. Alright. Thank you, Morgan.
You've arrived. It's been my honor and duty to see you through this mission.
Alright, let's park the truck. $342 miles, 8 hours 13 minutes, fuel consumed 72 gallons. Still level 4. Oh, we just moved into level 4, I should say. We'll get our long distance points up as soon as we can. Let's have a look at our next job. Alright, we're in Clovis. Alright. I do like to start my next job in the same city that I've just got to. Hang on, Clovis. So we can go Clovis to Albany in Texas. Oh, I haven't been to Texas before on American Truck Simulator. Let me see, that's halfway through Texas. Let me see, where else can we go? Oh, hang on. Oh, we can do this one and totally go through to the top of Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. There's another one to Lawton in Oklahoma. That's up to Nebraska. Scrapped cars to Kansas. To Santa Fe, we just went through Santa Fe, no real reason to repeat that. Back to LA, no thank you. Back to Arizona, thank you. And that's that. So, I think the job where we can go to Arkansas. Yes, we'll do that one. Clovis to Conway. Milk. 46,000 pounds of milk. Let's take that job. We won't finish this job all in one episode, but we will be able to start that at least and then do it in the next episode. Simulated life is good. Real life is real life, and you can get to see a little bit of my real life right now. Welcome back to Simulated Life. Hope you enjoyed that bit of time-lapse slice of life there. A 54-minute journey over in just seconds. We are about to head from Clovis to Arkansas. 29-30 hours left in the window, our window of opportunity. Let's start our drive. We'll have a look at our truck first of all. Oh, it's a long truck, this one. It's what I'd call a B-double. Let me see. Let's have a look at our vital stats. It is just after midnight on Wednesday morning. We're expected at 10:16 Wednesday morning, so in about 10 hours time. 576 miles, 10 hours and 15 minutes of actual driving. Our next rest stop in 13 hours, so rest shouldn't be an issue. We're expected sometime just before midnight tonight. And our next rest stop is in 14 hours. So let's get in the truck, get rid of that, fire up the...
There are those who would like to see you fail in your journey. That's not going to happen on my watch. Let's go.
Alright. So we need to remember that our truck is long. But hopefully this will be a nice straight run. Let's get in the cab. Good morning, Morgan Freeman, sir. It's been a while since I've driven anything this long, actually. So we're in an international truck. We'll see how we go game-wise, if we can finish the episode with this load and start with a new one in Arkansas on the next episode. So now...
Turn right.
Alright. Can't really see much out there apart from those headlights coming towards us, can we? Which is also a good thing because... that gives us a long way of telling, a good way of telling, you know, how far a car is away. And if we can't see anything,
In 0.1 miles, turn left.
alright.
Turn left.
Alright, so we need to be concerned first of all with cars coming that way. I thought I was going to be able to get out. Ah, good. There's a good opportunity. Big lock. Long trailer.
Continue straight.
I know we've multi-trailer combinations such as this here in Australia at least. There's only apart from if you're picking up or dropping off, if you're just going from one point to the other, there's only certain roads that you... Oh, there's a train down there that I can't see.
And then turn right.
There's only certain roads that you can go on with really long or really heavy trucks. Like if you got a normal size semi like we've been driving on previous episodes, unless there's a particular street that has a load restriction, you're pretty much sweet anywhere. But once you sort of start getting into trucks this size and bigger, well then it gets a little bit more difficult. Now that U-Haul truck I can see in front, if I can see it when it goes around the corner, if it goes around the corner. I've maybe driven a truck of that size in real life. Oh, I didn't get to say it, I only got to say the back end of it. But like a 3-ton box truck, that's the biggest truck that I've ever driven in real life. We'll take as much road as we can get with this load.
Continue straight.
FedEx truck. Time to get the hammer down. 10-4.
Keep left. And then turn left. Turn left.
Alright, can we have a nice long straight stretch, please? Now I do have my high beams on. That's mainly just for gameplay purposes, so we can see a little bit more ahead of us, so it's not as hard to see during night. We're about to get the hammer down. 10-4. Probably the best. I haven't seen a lot of trucking movies, but from what I've seen, the best trucking movie. Smokey and the Bandit. Oh yeah, it sort of reminds me of this sort of area. Classic, iconic movie, that one, Smokey and the Bandit. A footpath all the way out here.
Continue straight.
Is that a truck or is that a train over there on the right? I can't quite see. Maybe it's another city coming up. Hereford discovered, okay. That does sound like a train over there. Yep, there it is. So we're on Highway 60. Can we get to see this train? That'd be nice. I can hear it. Sounds great. I can't see it. Bart, can we see the train? Bart?
Continue straight.
Now I can hear a level. Oh, there it is. Here's the train on the right there. Just waiting for the truck to turn into the service station there. Obviously supposed to be Chevron. Lots of trucks. So we're heading east on the 60. Heading to Arkansas. Or as I've heard it pronounced more than once, Arkansas. I was doing a podcast many years ago, my first podcast called Pod, and it was just me to start with, and then it turned into me and a bunch of mates just talking about funny stuff in the news, funny stuff in our lives, but it was mainly funny stuff in the news that we'd that we'd seen. And my co-host at the time, we were reading a story about something happened in Arkansas, probably a drunk driver or something like that. We seem to like those, drunk driver stories. How was this guy still able to even stand up now and operate a motor vehicle? I think the highest figure we ever saw was somewhere in Russia or the Ukraine, something like that. Anyway, the story came out about Arkansas, and he made a fair point that if you've never heard of a place before, we're talking 2008, probably 2008, 2009. If you haven't heard much about a place, you just read it phonetically, and it looks like Arkansas. It's like, how do you get Arkansas out of that? And so it was a bit of a running joke there for a while. Now we got this story from Arkansas, and when I went in for Arkansas, I made a podcast recording. Yes, we've just arrived in Arkansas. But there's so many words out there that, you hear. So many words out there that you hear that you might not necessarily. I need to move over here. That you see, but you might think that you're saying it the right way, and then later on you discover that you're not actually saying it the right way at all. And even sometimes people who are involved might not know the correct way either. Find it very, very common in media. There's a even in Australia now, there's a lot of newsrooms and media organisations that used to be based in
Keep right. And then exit right.
in suburban and country areas that are now done from the nearest capital city or something like that, or the nearest regional centre. And so you'll have somebody who is, say, doing a news report about a certain area, but they've never been there, they don't know anyone from there or whatever, and sometimes they make a guess about how it's pronounced or whatever, and I've done the same. I do it during these games all the time. But even people who live there sometimes can be divided how a particular place name is pronounced, or somebody's name, something like that. It can be very difficult. I know I do commentary with ice hockey, and sometimes you see a name, and even the people on the team might say it 2 or 3 different ways depending on who you're talking to. And I know there's even been cases where I've spoken to the player themselves. I remember one classic example. I was talking to a particular player. We're heading to Oklahoma City, you guys. But can we stop in Oklahoma City? Where I was talking to this particular player, and once she said to me, say it the way that, it's a Turkish name, say it the way that you've been saying it, that's pretty close, that's fine. And then a couple of years later I got a message, say it this way. And then there was another time with another player, I'd been saying it one particular way consistently for 2 or 3 years, and then all of a sudden towards the end of one season, I got a message from the the player's captain, saying, "Oh, you've actually been saying her name wrong for the last 2 or 3 years." Now, in that sort of situation, if I don't know that I've been saying a word wrong or a player's name wrong for the last 2 or 3 years, it'd actually be handy if somebody told me. Now, there are some names that you can think, you think you've got it right, and you actually do practice it during the week, or in warm up when you see them on the ice, and it's a case of, I'll just use a really easy example one. Like you'll go Smith, 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 right? And then later on, you're getting into the heat of battle, especially if you have called them one thing and then you suddenly get corrected. And as much as you want to practice, sometimes you do slip into the old, you've been calling them Smith and their name's actually Smythe, and then you'll call them Smith again, and then you remember, oh yeah, their name's actually Smythe. There's actually one player who, when I first started watching ice hockey in this country, because of the variations of his name, he was getting called three things. He was getting called his surname, so Kennedy. He was getting known by his surname and his suffix, so Kennedy Jr. And then there was the abbreviation of his names, and he is actually John F. Kennedy. And so sometimes he'd be known as JFK or JFK Jr. So when I'm first watching this team, and I wasn't super familiar with them at this stage, during the commentary I'd hear Kennedy, and then a little bit later I'd hear Kennedy Jr., and then in another stage I'd hear JFK, and then I'd hear JFK Jr. We're probably going to go into the way station up here. No, we can bypass the way station this time, thank you. Shamrock discovered. And so it was a case of, until I had a look at the team list and got to know the team and the league a little bit better, I actually knew that on all 3 occasions they were actually talking about the same person. And JFK, for the record, top bloke. But yeah, it's a bit strange when you're trying to pronounce a whole heap of long, complicated names in a fast-moving sport such as hockey. And for most of it I was audio, so I had to describe things a little bit more than I would if it was a video stream. And so I can remember there was this, in Australia we tend to get a lot of players from Eastern Europe. So we had a couple of players in this particular match from the same part of the world, and actually what I would do, I would write their name out phonetically on my notes. But sometimes you'd be, oh, don't pass the puck to that guy. I'd have to say his name again, but there were a couple of ones, and then you'd pronounce it. Like, you'd listen to other commentators and you hear the way that they'd pronounce it, and you think, oh, well, he's spoken to the guy or whatever. That's how it's actually pronounced. And then you find out later on, someone's done some research, and it's not the way that you first thought or was first told or whatever. I've even gone to YouTube, put in somebody's surname, because you can get these YouTube videos which tells you how to pronounce people's names, or websites that tell you how to pronounce people's names, and that can get me by. There was another case where sometimes we have players that sub in and out. They're not like full-time members of the team or whatever, but they're called up to fill in or whatever, so you might not know them or whatever. So I can remember this one Saturday afternoon we had a game, and I got told about a player arriving who was basically arriving straight from the airport. So I thought, oh, we've got this import player that's just arriving. He's just arriving. Oh, so what's his name? How do you say his name? Well, that's a slight problem because we just call him by his initials. And so we had to try and find out who this guy was. He was actually arriving at the game, going straight to the venue and then getting ready and then playing. Etienne Detroit, that's who it was. And so people on the team called him ET, but he never used to call himself ET. That wasn't his nickname, but they'd call him Etienne. They'd call him ET. His name was Etienne Detroit. And so my co-commentator was really good at Google stalking people. And so the only clues that we had was that he was flying in. His initials were ET, and we'd be seeing him on the ice in about an hour or so. So off she goes onto the Google, and I don't know how she managed it, but we found out his name. We found out what flight he was on. Probably could have tracked him via the Uber that he caught from the airport. And how to pronounce his name, where he was from. He was actually they'd flown him down from Brisbane. He wasn't an import, a last minute import that we thought he might have been. And so sometimes that's as little information as you have to go by for somebody's name. Sometimes sometimes you'd like to be able to say to the person, so how do you pronounce your name? And so with some people it's really easy. Like if they're in the public eye, for instance, like if they're a politician or a celebrity or whatever, well, there's usually been the person themselves saying something like, hi, I'm John F. Kennedy, blah, 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 or somebody interviewing him or whatever. There's some sort of news story, and I'm just using JFK as an example. There's usually some sort of video footage of, this celebrity saying their name, or, sometimes you think you can rely on other media, but they don't always get it right either. And as I said, you get some other players who are just cool as a cucumber, and they say, so what's your name? Tertiary. And then later on you hear other people say it to Sarek, and you say to him, is it Testrik or Tasarek? And he goes, yeah, I'll answer to both. As long as I know you're talking about me. Answers to both, so. And then in that case, I'll just try and keep it the same. Dallas, San Antonio, St. Louis. I'll try and keep it the same. Are we actually in Arkansas yet? I haven't seen any signs or flags at the border.
In 0.1 miles, exit right.
Okay, I got another car in my blind spot. There we go.
Exit right.
Thank you, Morgan. Now, as we go on to the
That was the longest night of my life.
I'm sure it was. When we get into these modded map areas like we're in now, we may not see the things at the borders that I usually see, like a sign or the flag or whatever, or a toll booth / checkpoint. That was the longest night of my life.
Continue straight.
So the sun's rising on this beautiful morning. If you've been driving since midnight like I have, this can be a real danger.
Keep right. And then continue straight.
This can be a real danger period when the sun's coming up.
Continue straight. That was the longest night of my life.
Gonna have to find out what movie that's actually from. Because no doubt he didn't record that for American Truck Simulator. Oh, check out this long straight section. Oh, there's a city, big city over there that's just come into view. So we may see more.
Keep right. And then exit right.
We may see more areas that basically just look like vacant farmland
Exit right.
until we get to big cities from now on. Now that we're in this stage of the map.
In 0.1 miles, turn left. Turn left.
Alright, there we go. We should be able to get around there. No, I hesitated. Here's a bus. Alright, there we go on this side. Yep, we can do that. Heck out time going around this corner with this big load. Keeping America moving. So we may see little generic areas like this that just look like open country. So it's been quite some time since I've travelled in this particular sort of area of America. I did the big road trip in 2009. I did a lot of trains in 2013 and flew a lot of places in 2014.
In 0.1 miles, turn right. turn right.
Oh, well, he's going, so... So some people might, and I've seen it online where, for instance, in Canada, I watched a video a few days ago that's a couple of years old,
0.1 miles. Turn left.
and someone would say something like, "Oh, that doesn't look very much like the approach
Turn
into Edmonton." But what they're forgetting, he's going around. Are you going around? Yep, you're going around, but the one next to you isn't. That's where you gotta be careful. You see all these guys turning around. And then, yeah, he's going. Oh, there's a nice American school bus there. Oh, can't see anything there. You gotta suspend disbelief a little bit now in this area. Some people are like, oh, well, that doesn't look like the approach to Edmonton. Whereas often it's general members of the public, effectively, who are making these maps. It's not the game developers, so they may not have the resources to know exactly what the approach into Edmonton looks like, or if they do know, they might not have the resources to be able to recreate it. Whereas if they are the game developing company and they are putting out a map which they expect people to pay for, you're damn straight you want that to look like the entrance to Edmonton, and you should expect it to look like the place that they're mapping. Whereas, like we saw with that intersection just there, where the right was just basically blue sky, I can be a bit more forgiving of that, because I know this is a mod and it's not put out by the producers, the developers of the game.
Continue straight.
I can be a little bit more forgiving. And especially in things like Train Simulator, if you've got the licensing for that railway and you've had the opportunity to model that line, well, you want that line to look like that line. Whereas compared to if I did it with the amount of skills and resources that I have, you probably wouldn't be surprised that I can't do what the developers can. It's a big range of trucks and buses though, with American Truck Simulator. That's really impressive. Yeah, it's just not 45 of the same truck or the same bus going down the road. Lots of little variations. So we'll stay behind the bus. I'm quite happy just hanging behind this bus here. We're about to put the hammer down. When we get to the next set of traffic lights, I should have a look and see how far away we actually are from our destination. McAllister.
Continue straight.
Oh, who knew where you were going? I certainly didn't. Henrietta.
Keep left. And then continue straight.
But we're going to need to go left in a
Continue
minute.
straight.
Alright, how are we doing? So we're 39 miles away from the I-40. It's one thing I was commenting on, I think it was Fernbus recently. In these sort of games, you don't always necessarily see distance signs. Like that sign we said, 39 miles or whatever it was to Interstate 40. Don't see those a lot, so that's really good. Oh, jeez. I want to have a look at that. Holy dooly. Hang on, I'll just make sure I'm off the road. Holy smokes, Batman. I wish I could get out. Is it still there? Ah, it's gone now. Oh, did you see how that wheelbarrow truck was basically just bent in half? I'll just straighten my truck up. Alright, we'll straighten my truck up now. It's a good looking truck. Alright, how are we going time wise? We've still got 3 hours of drive time remaining. It's 10 AM Wednesday now. We're expected at just 20 past 1. Yeah, I think we'll just keep going. That's a go back a few seconds and have a look at that truck. That was basically bent in half. One of those, pardon me. One of those random events. So we've got 3 hours of driving time remaining. That was weird. I'd never seen anything like that before. Whee! What? Skippy the truck driving kangaroo. It's bouncing around all over the place then. Oklahoma City.
And then exit right.
Fort
Exit right.
Smith. So Oklahoma City's the next exit. No murdering whatsoever, really. You're still trying to come up to speed as a big long truck. Exit for Fort Smith. Oh, this is Interstate 40. 73 miles to Fort Smith. So a few moments ago said 39 miles to, or something like that, to I-40. So we've done pretty well game time. You know, obviously it does accelerate the, you know, game times. It's not real time that you're traveling. Tulsa.
Continue straight.
.51 miles to Fort Smith, so we'll travel 20 miles pretty quickly. I know they're not going to make you do a 10-hour trip. I think it was something like a 10-hour trip. They're not going to make you do that in real time. That would just be ridiculous. I've got something like 24 hours of actual playing time since I've owned American Truck Sim. That's 80 miles an hour. And still we keep going. We slow down to 70. I can probably turn my lights off now, honestly. There we go. You are running out of fuel. You should find a filling station. Okay. If I find
Keep left.
one, well, we're probably close to our destination, honestly. There's the exit to Fort Smith. Now we're starting to get a bit tired. Should be pretty close to our destination.
Keep left. Keep left.
Okay, Little Rock, Fayette. I've certainly heard of Little Rock, Arkansas. You know, there's some places that you automatically know, and then there's others that you don't necessarily know. For some reason, Little Rock, Arkansas is one of those places that I have heard of. You know, as an Australian, there's certainly no way you can be expected to know every single little US town. There's probably lots of people, even in the state of Arkansas, that wouldn't know all parts of Arkansas, for instance. There was a stat that I'm not going to try and quote the number, but there's a lot of Americans who haven't left their home state, and then there's others who haven't left their home city or their hometown. And you know, for some people, they're quite happy with that. So who's to say anything bad about it? I can hear a train. But it's certainly a big country, that is for sure. Russellville discovered. Like, you see some of these names pop up, like Russellville discovered. You know, is that a big deal? I don't know. It's not one of those names that automatically come up to think, oh, you know, that's going to be a town worth discovering on American Truck Sim. You know, we're heading in the general direction of Little Rock at the moment. Ah, Conway, that's where we're going. I just saw it on the sign flash by on the right hand side. So we're heading to Conway. Again, another... I like that sign. Oh, it's one of those electronic movable signs. Conway, which is where we're going, is not necessarily one that you'd necessarily think of when you think of cities in Arkansas either. But we must be coming close to it now, because we're starting to see signs pointing us in that direction. You know, if they're a really big American city, something like, you know, even somewhere like Dallas, Texas, for instance, you know, you'll see a lot of signs a lot earlier pointing to you somewhere like Dallas rather than, you know, Conway, Arkansas. Because there's a lot more people who would be using Dallas as a waypoint, or Dallas as a general direction in which to travel. Conway, 42 miles. So realistically, in game time, that's about 5 minutes. It's raining. I'm not going to let go of the keys. So, oh, gee, it got dark quick. To say which key the wipers is. You are getting tired. You're running out of fuel. We should almost be there, honestly. 20 miles to Conway. And often it's not the obvious W key for wipers because if you're walking or if you're going forward, you're just using a keyboard, you're often using W to go forward. And just because it's one thing in one game, it's a different thing in others. Like, I was recently recording an episode of Fernbus and this situation happened and I eventually just looked it up. Paused the game and looked it up and it was F4 to increase the wipers and F3 to slow them down. But in American Truck Sim I know that that's totally different. F3s for your mini-map. And Conway discovered, so we're not far now.
Keep right. And then exit right. Exit right.
Alright, so we're exiting.
Continue straight.
We're exiting right. When we get up here. Oh, listen to that rain. Oh, he's letting me out. Thank you, mate. I've probably got my nose forward too, just quietly. Alright. Not far away now. So we've stuck to our window pretty much.
Keep left. And then turn left.
You are getting tired. You're also getting close to your destination. Then I'll be sweet.
Turn left.
Turning left now.
Continue straight.
Oh, voice navigation's so good. Oh, we're turning left up here anyway. Whoops. Alright, just around the corner from Conway. Hope you have enjoyed the episode. We'll continue our journey east on the next episode. We'll check in here to our destination. We'll try and pick up a load here from Conway and we'll continue generally east.
And then turn left. Turn left.
Alright, turn left and we've got the left arrow. Sweet. Our destination is just up ahead. We'll try and pick a load from Conway to generally continue our easterly run. Yes, I'm getting tired. I should find a parking area to rest. I know, but I'm also... Oh, there's a train station up there. Bart, can we see the train station? Bart.
In 0.1 miles. Turn left. Turn left.
Alright, how are we looking? I can hear a train. Yes, I know there's a train station there, but it doesn't mean I should be able to hear a train. Oh, that sounds good.
In 0.1 miles. Turn right. Turn right. You've arrived. It's been my honor and duty to see you through this mission.
We have arrived. Excellent. Milk delivered from Clovis to Conway. 644 miles, almost 14 hours. And we're now level 5. We'll use our skill point on long distance. We'll quickly select our next job. Where are we? We're in Conway. Okay, so Conway, let's see, what have we got? Conway to Chicago. Conway to Gadsden. Oh, that's Alabama. So we leave Arkansas, we go for a bit of Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama. Chicago, we basically head due north. Missouri and Illinois. I don't want to come via Chicago on the way back. That's into Mississippi. That one to Lawton's going back into Oklahoma. We don't want to do that. Oh, that's a long trip. That's going all the way up into almost Canada. I want to head east. Texarkana, Texas. That's slightly going backwards. Andrew, Texas. Oh, that's El Centro anyway. So the one that we'll do... We'll take these home accessories and we will take them to Alabama. So we'll leave Arkansas, go for a little bit of Tennessee, top of Mississippi, and basically cross Alabama. I'm Simulator Dirk. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
There are those who would like to see you fail in your journey. That's not going to happen on my watch. Let's go.
Can we stop for ice cream, Bart? Can we stop for ice cream? Oh, it's the Max! Ho 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 ho! The Portland Light Rail System, the Max, and that's what it actually looks like. How sweet! Into May, June, July, and now we're into August, so...
That was the longest night of my life.